Hey, it's Fox from InfernoFox Gaming. So huge thanks again to everyone that had subscribed from the last video that might have brought you here, that being Make a Case for Bestelle. Again, I really appreciate the subs as we are very close to hitting the 1,000 mark. And to that end, I want to stick with the JRPG genre here and get into a fun topic. And that's going to be some JRPGs that hooked me instantly. And these are the ones that when you just know, you know, whether it's the battle system or the characters and stories or even the music. It's like an organic pull that just seems to gravitate from the game to you, or in this instance, myself, that just really connects with me. So I want to share 5 different of these titles that many of them are recent, a couple of them are old, and none of them are Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is my favorite series of all time, so I figured I want to avoid the low-hanging fruit. And again, while you're here, if you haven't already, please make sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell for notifications. So I want to start off with one. I said no Final Fantasy, but I did not say Dragon Quest XI. I don't know if this one's really a cheat or not, because my first Dragon Quest was Dragon Quest 3 on the Switch. Not the new HD 2D, the what a lot of people call the crappy mobile remake or remaster, whatever the heck that is. This one, though, this was my 7th Dragon Quest game. After playing 3, I went to 1, then 2. I did 4 through 6 on this guy right here, the mobile phone, and it was awful. I do not like mobile gaming. That's me personally. No hate against anybody that does mobile gaming at all, just for me personally. And I prefer to game with a controller in my hand. That said, I got to Dragon Quest XI. I just finished the long Dragon Quest VII game on the 3DS, and Dragon Quest VIII wasn't getting my attention on the 3DS. I've spoke about it before in previous videos. I do not like the 3DS solely for that awful circle joystick. So I'm like, I picked this up, Dragon Quest XI, on the Switch. I want to give it a go, and it was almost like love at first sight. Immediately loved my very first minutes with this game. I think the first hour up to... It was the scene where Hiro and Eric are jumping off the cliff to escape the soldiers. Loved that. And I think that, honestly, though, that was probably further along in the game. But I was a little worried, too, because the battle system made it seem like, oh, you move your character around. But that was just how you really just view battles. It wasn't actually how they were, so there's a setting to just have it be classic style. I did that immediately. Love my time with this, because not only is the gameplay classic Dragon Quest, the story is fantastic on this. And what I thought was a 2-part game with a first part separated by the second, similar to how Final Fantasy VI was, there was a crazy 3rd part, which I was not expecting, and just it was almost like bonus time, but kind of not, because it was kind of like the true ending in a way. My own headcanon has it that the end of part 2 is where Dragon Quests 4 through 6 are, and the end of part 3 is where Dragon Quests 1 through 3 are. Again, this is the dividing game, kind of like how Ocarina of Time is or was. But I'm not going to speak as to what that was. If you played Dragon Quest XI, if you know, you know. But fantastic game. It hooked me right away. Another game that hooked me right away. This is going to be the quickest one for all the 5 games I'm talking about. Bravely Default 2. When I didn't buy this right away, I downloaded the demo, and a download took like 16 minutes because, I mean, it's a Switch, and of course I did it wirelessly. And the demo starts the player off with all 4 characters and kind of on an overworld map. I remember moving down with said main character, got into one battle, and completed the battle. I'm like, okay, turned the demo off, deleted it, and then immediately bought the game. What was it about that hooked me? Simply put, it was the battle system and the music. I loved the music and the battle system insofar as it felt like a classic, like Final Fantasy game, something like Final Fantasies 1 through 3. Because again, I'm old, and I cut my teeth as a kid on the first Final Fantasy on the NES. That's kind of how it felt. Of course, all the bells and whistles with a changeable job system, kind of like how Final Fantasy III Remake, the 3D version on the DS, except, you know, this is good. And I've spoken about Bravely Default 2 on a previous video. I'll add a link to that in the description below, so I don't want to retread a lot of that, but it was the demo that hooked me. It was immediate, and I absolutely love and recommend this game, and I believe it's available both on PC, Steam, and of course on the Switch. Another classic game that I just played last year in 2024 as of this recording was, and I played 2 other games in this series before, and they were fine. They were good. It kind of felt like a mix of sort of Final Fantasy X and Persona. I went back to the first one in that overall part of the series with Trails in the Sky, the first chapter. Half an hour was all it really took for me to get into this, because the main character here, Estelle, is Bestelle. She's one of the best, greatest heroines for a JRPG. Not just because of, everything, her literal sunny demeanor and everything like that, but just her being such a nuanced character too. A lot of depth and a lot of very real. There's a very real sense to how she acts and everything, and just also a sense of emotional maturity. Wouldn't really expect that, but all of the Trails series main characters have a high level of emotional maturity, and I think that's why they tend to attract a lot of attention from both the same and opposite sexes. But in Estelle, or Bestelle as I like to call her, in her instance, her character development along with her brother Joshua and the many characters that were in Trails in the Sky pulled me right away. The battle system kind of looking like an overhead tactics style or strategy style thing, except the battles are like super quick, and it's just sort of having like that Final Fantasy VII materia with Final Fantasy X turn order thing. Love the battle system. A lot of people would say it was antiquated, but the game coming out in like, I think 2006 originally, it was like, it was a perfect fit for me, because again, as I've said before, I'm old, and I'm over here yelling at Cloud like Grandpa Simpson. Battle system was perfect, and I'm really looking forward to how the remake's going to be, because it's looking like it's going to be kind of like how Trails of Daybreak's battle system was, but with all of the story beats and just looks so beautifully colorful. Really looking forward to that. Definitely Trails in the Sky hooked me, but Trails in the Sky's second chapter is probably one of the finest JRPGs I've ever played. Probably a top 5 JRPG of all time game. I'd really have to think about that. Maybe a video I might do at some point, but can't recommend it enough. That's available on PC, Steam, and at least currently in like other systems like PSP for ungodly amounts of money. So those games don't have any recency bias, because I might have played a couple of them recent-ish, but they've been out for a while. Let's talk about some recent games that have hooked me, and I am going to talk about Metaphor. Let's be honest, this is Persona meets Final Fantasy. That's what it is, and I loved Persona, my time with Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5/Persona 5 Royal, and I love Final Fantasy. That's what this is. The story is phenomenal. The music's pretty decent. The characters and the character development is awesome. Gameplay is absolutely fantastic, because it's one of those, again, it's got that Persona-like system, but it has the jobs and everything that all the characters can change into. Again, a la Final Fantasy, absolutely marvelous. When I recruited my 4th character, it was 3 characters at once, I remember. And I remember thinking, is this only a 3-person battle? Like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 10 kind of? Nope. It's 4 people per battle. Shouldn't be surprised, because I know Persona's like that, but I was a little worried. This hooked me with the story within the first 5-10 minutes, wondering about the main protagonist's journey to save the prince. All the action that took place with that was ton of fun. Can't recommend it enough. And I see why this was up for so many Game of the Year awards. I think my only gripe with it is the music, and y'all think I'm crazy about that, but whenever I talk to Jamie Owls about this game, I call this Chant the Game, because near every single song in the game has a sort of vocal chant in it. I feel like it's overused. It almost feels like how Star Ocean 2, the newest remaster of that, had that overly orchestrated sound to it. It's like this with the overuse of the chant. Beyond that, and really, and funny thing is, one of my favorite battle themes is one of the boss themes that doesn't have the chant, because it doesn't have it, it adds that higher level of gravitas to the fights. And I'm not done with it. I'm 50 hours in as of the recording of this video, and ever since the first hour, like I said, the first 5 minutes, I was hooked. The last one is absolutely the most recent, and that's going to be Xenoblade Chronicles X. I have this for the Wii U, and I bought it after the fact. I bought it actually when Nintendo announced the Wii U store being closed down. I'm like, oh crap, I better get a copy of the game and the DLC to make sure that I've got it. And a waste of money, because while the original was really a marvel for its time on the Wii U, I've heard there are a ton of quality of life improvements that have been inputted onto this. I'm only about 2 hours into this title, but it was the first 10 minutes that got me. It was when the main protagonist was walking with Elma to go back to the new Los Angeles area, and you had 1,500 meters to walk, and I probably died about 3 times, and that's awesome because I didn't go right back. I was exploring, I was fighting battles, especially battles I know I was going to lose, but the Xenoblade formula for fights is that if you die, it's not absolutely unfair and you lose all your progress. You just go back to your last checkpoint, but you keep all of your items and experience. Yeah, at least that's what I've seen. Again, 2 hours, 3 hours, haven't done a lot of battles, so maybe for this being a title that released on a console going into its 9th year, yeah, it's a remaster, but dang, does it look good. And that's a credit to Monolith Soft, who most likely leveraged their experience creating this to help Nintendo with Breath of the Wild, which was a thing. They did help with Breath of the Wild. And the story on this is just absolutely great. I love the idea of it being a colony from the United States. And it's just so got me curious. All the new updates to the story on how the heck this is linking to Xenoblades 1 through 3, or the Xenosaga, or Xenogears. How Monolith is going to link this. I don't know. I am super excited. I know I'm about 50 hours into Metaphor. I think I've got 3 dungeons left. And so once I'm done with that, once I'm done with Metaphor, giving it its good amount of time, I'm going to throw probably full focus onto Xenoblade Chronicles with a little bit of Suikoden thrown in to be able to finish this out. Xenoblade is absolutely a fantastic title for the very short time that I've been playing it, and I've heard it only gets better from here. So let me know in the comments section below what JRPGs hooked you guys from the start. I'd love to start a conversation with you. If you follow my channel, you know I respond to all the comments. Full respect to everybody as I start a dialogue with you guys. Again, really appreciate it. And thanks again for watching, and have a great day.